proving why we deserve to be here. We've earned our right to be here. We have to play 4 of our greatest games in order to win the finals.
In Dallas, they say live large and think big. And the Mavericks have a tall task tonight. Can they use their home crowd to revive the support around Luka under the world deficit? We'll have an update on Kristaps Porzingis as Boston tries to keep their perfect road record in these playoffs alive. We're setting the stage for Game 3 of the NBA Finals right now. Hello and welcome to hoopstreams presented by Xfinity. I'm Cassidy Hubbarth alongside the champ Kendrick, Perkins, Monica McNutt, and Brian Windhorst. First off, Monica of the Daily Show fame. I know y'all saw it. I know y'all saw it. Just shining bright. You're also going to be on the radio.
Come on here with your microphone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, guys.
And the star keeps shining. You'll be able to hear her on the ESPN radio call for Game 3. And there's a lot to talk about when we're getting into this game. Obviously, big news heading into this game. Kristaps Porzingis is out. We're going to get into this game and storylines by looking at the panic meter. Okay, so let's get your thoughts on the topics. And with Kristaps Porzingis out with a displaced tendon near his left leg, he suffered it Sunday night in Boston. Joe Mazzulla said he's day to day. So Brian, what is your level of panic for the Celtics right now around this, what they're calling a rare injury?
It's growing because I think the fact that he can't play is an indication of the severity of this injury. A dislocated tendon means your ankle is not going to be stable. If he felt good enough to play, this is a finals game,
Right.
okay? This is one of those situations where if you can possibly go, you go. I don't think this injury is getting better between now and Friday. So if he's not playing tonight, I think Friday is not looking good. So that means I think if you're the Celtics, you're operating where you do not have Kristaps Porzingis. When that was announced a few minutes ago, the crowd went crazy in here, and Derek Lively spent the whole pregame practicing lob dunks.
Oh, wow.
Because they're going to try to take advantage of it. The Celtics are great. The Celtics have a huge margin for error, but it just got smaller. The Mavericks got to move into that territory.
Most important player in this series is what you've been saying every single game.
And it's going to show tonight. And look, not just on the offensive end, but on the defensive end. We know what he brings offensively, being able to space the floor, take advantage of the mismatches, especially in the post. But when it comes to that defensive presence, we talked about taking away that lob threat, but also covering space. I haven't seen nobody do that since we watched Victor Wembanyama in the regular season, the way he's able to cover ground and defend multiple areas. His shot blocking has been great, and also he allows the other guys on the perimeter to press up and get aggressive defensively because you have a guy that's 7'3" without his shoes, 7'5" with his shoes and ankles fake on the floor to anchor your defense.
Listen, it is a huge loss, no doubt about it, in terms of the plus 25 versus even when he's not on the floor. However, and I think we all would agree with this Celtics squad, this is the year, right? And so, Porzingis or not, the other 4 guys that have terrific two-way ability in Tatum, White, Holiday, they've all got to step up ground, of course, in that group. And if it falls on Luke Cornett, right, play the best version of you that you can play, can't come out and try to beat Kristaps at all.
You know what I'm saying? Like, look, Luke Cornett haven't played since when? Last series, you coming back on the road in the finals, and he's a gamer. Every time his name has been called, he come in and produce. He's just not Kristaps Porzingis. And again, you're facing a team with Luka Doncic and a Kyrie Irving that's pissed off right now.
But look here, he's one of 5 Celtics to average at least 15 points in this series. And we've only seen him really in those first 2 games, and he was a game changer. But the Celtics team, they know how to play without him. Meanwhile, the Mavs are looking for anyone else to help Luka Doncic, specifically Kyrie Irving. Kyrie has shot 0 for 8 on 3-pointers in these finals. He's also shooting 32% when going off the dribble in the first 2 games of the NBA Finals after making 43% of those looks in the first 3 rounds. So, Monica, where's your panic
call me Crazy Joe, but you can call me Batman. You know, that's what Joe Clark said on the movie Lean On Me, because Kyrie Irving in Game 1 and Game 2, he's been starring in that movie because he's been leaning on Luka too much. It's time for him to carry his weight. Look, this is a duo, right? He cannot do it by himself when we're talking about Luka. This is a team that has the most talented duo, the most talented backcourt in NBA history. Do I believe Kyrie Irving is going to get it right? He has no choice tonight. This is a must-win situation. They cannot afford to go down 0-3 against this Boston Celtics team.
And we know Kyrie, you know, he called or met with Luka and he said, my hermano, I got to step up. And we saw this earlier in the playoffs where basically Luka said, I need to step up for Kyrie.
Yeah.
So this is part of their journey and also part of Kyrie's journey. He's been down 0-2 before in the finals. So he has that experience and can speak to that with his team, and hopefully, you know, for his sake, that he can kind of figure out how to recapture that magic tonight in front of this home crowd. Another reason why the Mavs are clamoring to be in front of this home crowd is because they say role players tend to play better at home. And this Mavs team needs their rookie to play like a veteran because it seems like he's been a little lost in the moment. What's your panic meter in terms of Derek Lively now, especially with the news with Kristaps Porzingis out?
Well, I don't. I'm not panicking that much. I mean, in Game 1 and Game 2, did he look a lot shaky and look like he wasn't ready for the moment? Yeah, but look, when you're talking about the NBA Finals, the biggest stage in NBA basketball, and you're putting a rookie on that stage on the road in a hostile environment, I didn't expect nothing more, to be honest with you. Now he's back home. I actually spent about 15 minutes out here on the court watching him go through his pregame warm-up and ritual with his mentor and Tyson Chandler. And I talked to Tyson and I actually was like, oh no, Perk, he's in a great space right now. He's back at home, he's feeling comfortable, we got in the gym, we've been talking, and he looked pretty good. I mean, in the pregame warm-ups, I mean, we never lack confidence.
Look at that reporting. Look at that reporting from Perk.
Excellent by Perk.
What?
Excellent reporting.
You know, gathering your sources and
Yeah, you know. Listen,
Look, I don't go searching for information, but sometimes information finds me.
yes, it does. But on that note, our colleague Malika Andrews had an incredible sit-down with Derek Lively, talking about the loss of his mother, Cassidy Hubbarth, earlier this year. And at the end of that piece, he said that he would want his mom to know that he's not afraid of anything because he's been through the hardest thing that he could experience in terms of losing her. I know that has nothing to do with basketball, but I'm with Perk. Like, he's been through that. This young man is resilient. He plays with a level of joy. He's home. Let's rock.
basketball players are human.
There you go.
So the Mavericks have two things that they use as a weapon: the corner three-pointer and the lob dunk. They were averaging 5 corner three-pointers made per game coming into this series. They've only taken 8 in the 2 games combined. That's got to change. And then the lob dunks. They have 2 lob dunks coming into this game, and 2 games. They got to get 2 lob dunks in the first half alone. Just loosen up the defense for Luka. They got to get back to the bread and butter. I know the Celtics are causing part of that, but Derek Lively's got to look for that. He's got to be more active in helping his guards set him up.
And Derek Lively actually posted the quote from Luka Doncic where he said to his teammates, they got to keep shooting. That's how we played the whole season. We believe in those guys. So the confidence around this team, which has gotten them to this point, which is the chemistry, we'll see if it can come to fruition here in Game 3. All right, time now to check out tonight's reliable connection brought to you by Xfinity. And guys, how about Jayson Tatum in Game 2? Tatum not only having the scoring output he's accustomed to, but still being a factor in other ways. He racked up 12 assists, tied for the second most in any game of his career. Joe Mazzulla on Tuesday was asked about Tatum's finals performance thus far.
Do you think that we are watching the best version of Jayson Tatum in these finals?
Yeah, I think it's pretty close. I think because of the type of player that he is, it's always going to look different because of his versatility. And you live in America or Brazil? I live in Brazil. Well, that's probably why you asked that question, and none of the American ones did, because they look at the lens differently of basketball. And so in America, nothing's ever good enough, and it's always about what can you do for me right now. And it's not always the case in this situation. So Yes, I think we are, and I think he's only going to get better. And he makes greatness look easy because of his ability to impact the game in many different ways. And he's just going to continue to get better and better and better. And it's an honor to coach him.
So Joe naturally said that he feels like he's seen the best version of Jayson Tatum in these finals so far. But how should Tatum be evaluated in terms of the connection to the Celtics winning thus far, Kirk?
I mean, look, has he been doing other things on the floor? Absolutely. But Jayson Tatum is a first-team All-NBA player, right? In Game 2, the 12 assists, it was cute. The 9 rebounds was sassy. But we need Jayson Tatum to get ugly, right? We need him to make the game ugly. We need him to go out there and get buckets. And I'm talking about the Boston Celtics. Here's the thing, right? I understand he's surrounded by pieces, but when you're trying to get cemented in Celtic royalty in the conversation with and sitting at the table with guys like Paul Pierce, Bill Russell, Larry Bird, damn it, you need to get it done bigger than what he's doing and provide a bigger offensive
Over the game?
As the Celtics just ran on the court.
To do it in the flow of the game.
Listen.
Because if he's pressing and has a terrible line, what can we talk about
But
that?
here's what I'm saying. It's not like he had the most shot attempts in Game 2. He took 22 shots. I mean, damn, Monica. I mean, I understand, but Jayson Tatum, he the one that sat down with Malika Andrews at the beginning of the season and said, this is the moment he's been waiting on. He the one that said every single time he steps on the floor, he feel like he's the best player on the floor. But damn it, the floor is here. The stage is set.
Yeah, Joe kind of told on himself there because the reason he's being so defensive of Tatum is because they might be a little worried about his confidence. He came in there trying to pump Tatum up because they're worried about him getting down. Now, it doesn't mean I disagree with him. I do think Tatum is doing fine. He's distributing the ball, he's rebounding, he's defending. But they can't have their star player go 6 of 22. Bottom line, especially on the road. Joe knows that. Tatum knows that. The Brazilian media knows that.
And the Mavericks are running onto the court right now. Don't get hit by one of those flags. And they'll be warming up right behind us. Just quickly, with Porzingis out, does that change your expectations of Tatum tonight?
I mean, it has to. He has to be aggressive. And now there's 9 rebounds. It needs to look like 15 rebounds because at the end of the day, you're going to rock with old man Al Horford, and rightfully so. He's been playing some good basketball for them. But Jayson Tatum is 6'9", 6'10". He has the capability of putting up Giannis-type numbers on a night-to-night basis when he decides to play with force. Game 3 on the road is when he's supposed to elevate his game because the superstars take you home. Role players play better at home. Superstars game carry on the road.
All right, so we'll continue to look ahead. We'll continue to look ahead to Game 3, but we got to take a moment to remember the basketball world's one of our great legends in the game as Jerry West passed away at the age of 86. A true Titan, champion and literal logo of the game we all love. Brian, your thoughts on the legacy that West leaves behind?
He was involved with the NBA for 8 decades. 8 decades. He was a guy who was a great college player in the 60s, was one of the best players in the NBA in the 60s and 70s, was one of the best executives in the NBA in the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, and even in quote-unquote retirement in the 2010s and 20s, was a key member of putting together the Warriors and the Clippers. There has been few people who have had such an impact on the NBA as Jerry West. And you know what? He passed away today. There was no chance to give him a memorial, except for guess what? He's on every jersey. He's on every basketball. He's on the backboard because he is the logo. There's no honor you could give him more than just to say he's with you all the time because he's been with the NBA pretty much all the time. Wow.
I can't add to that. That's perfect, Wendy.
It really was. That really was beautiful. And just to kind of show you just his impact over his long involvement with the NBA. Look at this. Just a few of his accolades. One of 3 players to win NBA Finals MVP, NCAA tourney, most outstanding player, and an Olympic gold medal. He played in 9 finals, tied for 5th most, 14-time All-Star, won 8 titles as an executive, a 2-time NBA Executive of the Year. He drafted James Worthy, traded for Kobe Bryant, signed Shaquille O'Neal, signed Kevin Durant, signed Kawhi Leonard, and traded for Paul George.
across the world recognize the NBA by its silhouette. That sums everything up.
Yeah, and let's transition to the finals, something that we all know Jerry would probably want us to do anyways. So, Tim, Porzingis is out. What more can you tell us just about how the Celtics are dealing with this injury and how they're going to be treating it going forward?
Well, look, the biggest question to me is what happens going forward. As you said, Cass, I asked Joe Mazzulla, what is the status of Kristaps Porzingis after today? Is he still day-to-day? Mazzulla said that is the case. However, you would think if Porzingis could play today, he'd be playing today. It doesn't give me a lot of confidence this is going to improve as time goes by. It's obviously a very rare, unique injury. And obviously it just sucks for Porzingis, who spent 5 weeks waiting to get back on the court. He talked about how excited he was to be back here in Dallas, where he has not played since he got traded away 2.5 years ago. Now he's missing another game. So I think we're going to see a lot of different options off the bench, whether it's Luke Cornett, Xavier Tillman, O'Shea Brissett. I think they'll all play a little bit. But there's no question the loss of Porzingis, plus 25 in his 44 minutes, even in the 52 he's been on the bench. It's a big loss. It gives Dallas a chance to get back in the series.
MacMahon, we saw Derek Lively practicing a lot of lobs. How do you think this affects their game plan?
A lot of lobs and a bullseye on the paint, on attacking the paint. Kristaps Porzingis statistically this season was the most, he was the best rim protector in the league. 44% field goal percentage, 50 dunks and layups. They're going to be attacking without him. And look, Horford is solid as a rim protector, but there's the drop-off there. And certainly the defense is on the bench. The drop-off there is. If they've taken away the lobs, I would look for them to try to get back on it. And also just Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving getting that.
Okay, look, so we know Celtics have a 2-0 lead, and they're on the road, which, they haven't lost these whole playoffs.
No, they have not.
So what's the team's outlook for today? Without Porzingis, it's just in terms of what we can expect from them.
The team's outlook is great, Cass. This is a team, as you said, 6-0 on the road in these playoffs, 20-7 over the last 3 years in the playoffs. That's tied with the Chicago Bulls from 91 to 93 for the best road winning percentage over a 3-year span in the history of the NBA playoffs. This is a team that knows how to win on the road, and knows how to win on the road without Kristaps Porzingis. Now, we saw throughout Game 2, the Celtics got a good shot virtually every time down the court. And the only reason that game was remotely competitive was because they couldn't hit any of them. I don't anticipate that being the same thing again here in Game 3. So I would like to see Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving be able to slow these guys down if they can, and they're going to continue to get into the paint relentlessly when they have 54 points in the paint in Game 2. I don't think the absence of Porzingis matters all that much because I don't think Dallas can stop Boston from scoring.
All right, make sure to tune in to the Hoop Collective podcast with our Brian Windhorst after the game. You could also listen wherever you find your podcasts, specifically on iTunes. Thanks, guys. You're watching Hoop Streams presented by Xfinity. As we're minutes away from the start of Game 3, a must-win for the Mavericks as teams to take a 3-0 lead in a best-of-7 series are 156-0 all time. The Celtics have a 43-1 record when leading the 2-0 in a best-of-7 series, with a 1 loss coming in 2018 Conference Finals versus the Cavs. All right, it's time to see who's zeroed in, brought to you by DoorDash. Speaking of those Celtics, let's talk about their road dominance. 6 straight road wins this postseason. 5th team to start 6-0 and better on the road in the playoffs. And over the last 3 postseasons, the Celtics are 20-7 on the road. For perspective, on their performance away from Boston, that is tied with the 91-93 Bulls for the best record win percentage over 3 postseason span in NBA history. Back now with Brian and Perk your Celtics. They've played well on the road in order to advance in the playoffs. So tell us, what is the locker room like on the road in the finals?
Well, you can tell that this group is together, right? And it starts with Jrue Holiday.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Huh?
It's his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, Jrue. I raised you in New Orleans.
Yes.
It starts with Jrue Holiday, and now you're starting to see Jaylen Brown be a little bit more.
Yes.
It's all about being together, right? And when you have a player go down like Kristaps Porzingis, and you how effective he's been, it's about coming together, and it's also about going to our game, right? And even paying attention. Because remember, Kristaps Porzingis was that guy coming in off the bench, giving them those big points. So who's going to step up to the plate off the bench
Kyrie. As